Check, 1, 2, check, check. The only way to defeat the Blair Witch is heavy metal hardcore music. The Blair Witch stars James Allen McCune, Callie Hernandez, and is directed by Adam Wingard. So in 1999, The Blair Witch came out and it just completely changed the face of movie making. And essentially it was the story of these three kids. They go into the woods to find the Blair Witch, and the Blair Witch does what the Blair Witch does, scares the complete crap out of people. They end up missing. So what I liked about this one, and I didn't know about it, thank God they didn't reveal it in the trailers, and it's not a spoiler, you'll find this right at the beginning of the movie, is the main character, James, his sister was Heather from the first movie. He was 4 years old. Understandably, when you have a sibling that dies and their body is never found, there's always this question in the back of your mind, where is this person? And that's what plagues James. So at the beginning of the movie, he is looking at a video and he sees footage from another Blair Witch occurrence, and there's a freeze frame and he thinks this is his sister. So him and a group of friends, they go back into the woods to find his sister, which I think is a horrible idea. And of course, the Blair Witch does what the Blair Witch does. Now, first off, before I get into this review, I'm gonna talk some spoiler talk at the end of this one because there was a lot of cool stuff that happened in this movie. But don't worry, you're gonna be fine up until the rating, but then after the rating, you are dismissed. Now, I'd say for the first half of this movie, it does feel like sort of a retread of the first Blair Witch. There were quite a few moments where I was saying to myself, that's cool, but I think I've seen that before. You know, it had a lot of those similar beats, and I was a little worried. But then there is a point in the movie where things change. There are some different plot elements, and this becomes Adam Wingard's Blair Witch. I have to give credit to Adam Wingard. He is a great director. He did You're Next. He did The Guest, and I had a feeling that he was going to do us justice, and he sure did, because I really enjoyed this movie. First off, one thing I like about not only this movie, but the original, is there are so many moments where the camera is fixated on something and you can't take your eyes off the screen because you think that there's something maybe in the corner or in the background, and you never take your eyes off of it. There were moments in this movie where I was scared to blink. I just wanted to see what was in the frame. To me, that's just so effective and really fun. Also, I like that they introduced some new elements in this one, all the way down to the cameras. They had more cameras in this movie, much more than the first movie. And they had older cameras, they had newer cameras. They had cameras that fly in the air so that you can get an aerial view. But I like how they played with the perception of time. And one of the characters in this movie, he thinks a few hours is actually 5 days, and he freaks out. That is the power of the Blair Witch. She plays all these different tricks on these people in the woods. And this one, even more than the first one, you find that the characters start really just going insane. There is, I'd say, one point in the movie about midway through where the rug is pulled out and it really just goes full tilt, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when it happens. And it never lets up until the very end of the movie. Now, once these characters actually get to the house, then it's like a roller coaster ride. It really is. You are holding on for dear life. The last act is just balls to the wall crazy. And let me just say, there were 3 people in the theater that got up and left. They were that terrified. And I always dig that in a horror movie. It's always fun to see people actually leave because they're afraid. Guys, I had a blast in this movie. Adam Wingard, he did it again. I'm gonna give this movie a high purchase worthy. I really enjoyed it. It might crack my top 10 for the year, maybe top 5. It's really that effective of a horror movie. And really, this is the perfect movie to watch like on Halloween night. It has that haunted house, spooky cabin vibe to it, and it's just so effective. And the last thing I'll say is the sound is just so powerful in this film. It is great. Okay guys, now we're gonna do some spoiler talk. So if you have not seen The Blair Witch, then I would go ahead and get out of here. So one of the things I found interesting was one of the characters, she hurts her foot at the beginning of the movie. And then throughout the movie, you notice all these strange things start happening to her foot. At first I thought, is there like a tree growing out of her body or something? I like that they never really tell you what that is. It's more of a parasite, but it's never really spelled out. Really, there were quite a few ambiguous occurrences in this movie. And also, I love how the footage at the beginning where James is looking and he thinks it's Heather, that same footage plays at the end of the movie. It's like everything comes full circle. So it begs the question, is James actually watching footage that doesn't happen until the future when he actually goes into the woods? That can really bake your noodle. But again, it was ambiguous, it wasn't really spelled out. And also, when they are in that house, it is just crazy, and I didn't want to go into too much detail in the spoiler-free section. This was definitely one of those moments where I was just constantly looking at every corner of the frame because I wanted to see something so bad, and they really don't show you that much. But what they do show you is just little glimpses here and there. You know, especially that one time where James is looking for his sister Heather, and then you see just a really quick silhouette. It's like the Blair Witch can manifest any kind of image in front of her victim. And I was a little afraid that they were going to get carried away with some CGI in this movie because they can do that now. Thankfully, Adam Wingard didn't. He did use a little bit of CGI, but again, it was just little flashes of things here and there, and it was just so effective. So anyway, guys, that's my spoiler talk for The Blair Witch. What are your thoughts on this movie? I had a blast with it, honestly. And guys, make sure you join the Killer Flicks Facebook group where we talk horror all day, every day. Like, subscribe, and comment. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. And Drumdum out.